being a Black family on TV, I felt that there was a standard that I had to maintain.
When you become this figure on TV and you become part of someone's daily routine, they feel like they know you. They build a connection.
I have decided that I'm letting my parents live their lives as the grown-ups they are, and my time spent with them will be joyful.
I love that.
The way you are romanticizing, and girl, you make 50 look good and strong and bold, and that photo shoot, that leg.
Girl, the way you were down on.
I went to my physio the other day with no bra on. Tracy!
Welcome to Mama and Her, the podcast.
A space for mature mothers and women navigating the exciting journey of motherhood after 35.
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Shannon.
Your new mom friends inviting you into conversation to help you thrive in your mom era.
We celebrate all the incredible layers that make you, you. Before mom, there was and still is so much more to you.
We're here to remind our community that you are still that girl.
Welcome back to another episode of Mama and Her, where motherhood, faith, and community meet. I'm Shannon, and this is Kayla, and we're honestly so happy you're here with us today. Today's very special, but you could have been doing anything, and you're here with us, and that is an honor and a privilege, and we love that you're here.
Yeah, we love that you are back with us for another episode, and every time we have a mama on set with us, it's always a special day, and this one stands true. I am so excited. We are going to just jump right in and tell you about our guest for the day. She is an icon. She is someone who I think just about every person who is watching knows, a familiar face to so many. She is a legend, and we are just so honored for her to join us because she is a powerhouse. She has been the host of Cityline for nearly 2 decades. She is a familiar face on Canadian TV. She is a wife. She is a mother. She is a sister. She's an advocate for women, and she is a strong supporter of so many people around her, and it is our honor to have her on the Mama and Her podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Tracy Moore.
Woo! What an intro. Thank you.
Nothing less.
I'm happy. I'm so happy I could be here with both of you.
We love that you are here with us. Thank you for your yes and for being here and just honestly taking some time to chit chat with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the invite, and I know you had invited me a while back, and things were very tumultuous, and I was like, "There's going to be a time when I can come in and we can chat," and now is the time.
Yeah.
And thank you for the gift.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's very cute. My own mama and her podcast, because I got a little scratchy throat happening here.
We all
We
do.
always have
We
to
all
have
do.
the liquids nearby.
you. Yeah,
Yes.
appreciate it.
So Trace, one thing that we do here,
Yes.
Mama and Her podcast, we always do a check-in. It's our temperature check, the good, the bad, the ugly of the week, perhaps. So with that being said,
Yeah.
feel like sharing your good, bad, and ugly or
Always.
ugly? Okay.
Okay, so good would be I had a lot of cuddle time with my 14-year-old. We had a whole sick house. Disinfect the entire studio after I leave, please. We had a whole sick house, so I got to have a lot of good one-on-one time with my 14-year-old. And when you've got teenagers, not your kids are all
Not yet.
very small.
Yeah.
We're in the thick of toddlerhood.
Totally. When you will find that when they get into those teenage years, it's almost like you're bonding in all of those liminal times, like in the car, when you're both kind of just all in the living room. Like that's when the stories come up. That's when the bonding happens. So I love that I got to do that with her this week. The bad, I think, was when I had a couple of moments this week where I, was feeling a little off. And I think that that's totally normal. I'm just trying to be very forgiving with myself because this is a new season for me. And so it's being able to just move through all those emotions. And the ugly would be the amount of snot in my house right now, because at some point, every single person in the house was sick.
Yeah, it just goes through everybody. And it's just-
Everybody.
yeah.
So it was just pretty gross. I want to put the whole sofa in the washing machine. Like, how do I do
Or
that?
just throw the whole house away at
throw
this
it
point.
away, burn it. But yeah, so it's been mostly a good week.
Good.
that.
That's amazing.
And you know what? I think that's part of the reason why we do good, bad, and ugly, because a lot of things can coexist, right? So you got those beautiful moments, and you wouldn't have gotten them if they weren't sick.
That's right. Totally true.
Yeah.
It is all good.
The silver lining.
Absolutely. I want to take advantage of our time, and I want to just jump right in, because today is when I was thinking about, what are the things that, we want to cover and we want to talk to you about, because you are such an inspirational woman for many, many reasons. And I think, for whoever's watching, they may know you for different things.
Right.
But one thing that I think everyone knows you for is being a successful woman. That goes without saying. Everyone knows most of your story.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about redefining success for Tracy in this season of life, because you just alluded to the fact that you are entering this new season. You have closed a chapter of 20 years with Rogers.
Yeah.
And, of course, anytime a season closes, there is joy and there is sorrow. And so how is Tracy defining success for herself now?
It's a good question, because you probably went through this as well, Kayla, when you left CP24. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? My exit was beautiful. And I know a lot of people don't see it that way. It was a beautiful thing for me because I felt like it was very divinely timed. So Cityline went off the air in May. And then there was this big swath of time where there was going to be another show with me and a co-host. And then it was like, no, that show isn't going to happen. And then it's, come on in and backfill every once in a while on breakfast television. And we'll see what we can do for you. But it was this big swath of time where I didn't really have a gig. But I still kind of had one foot in. And it gave me the opportunity to, number one, grieve. Number two, look at my time differently. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, you mean I don't have to get up and do 7,000 things before 7 a.m. and then give all of my energy, which I don't mind doing. I'm well suited to it, but all of my energy to a show and a live audience, come home feeling drained, and then get everything ready to start doing it again the next morning. And then not to mention being a parent and a wife, right?
Yes.
And, a daughter of aging parents. So, and also somebody who likes to have fun. Like, I like to have fun. I have
do.
social life.
Just listing all of those things is like, how do you squeeze it all in?
Right. And I never questioned it. I was just doing it like we all do.
Yeah, we all do it.
So having that pause was amazing. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. I'm really tired. I'm just going to have so many naps. And I started going slower. And so when it came down to everything properly and officially ending, and everybody was with the what's next, what's next, what's next, I was like, what's next is now. Like, I am living in the moment. I am learning how to do that.
Amen.
I've never done that before. I'm always 7 years ahead, 7 steps ahead, trying to make sure that everything is right with everyone in the house. And also, I'm very career minded, and so is my husband. So we've been like these machines, these cogs for so long.
Many years.
So I have completely redefined success. Success for me is when I get to have a slow morning. So I still wake up at the crack of dawn. No one ever understands. 4 a.m. is my usual wake up time.
Okay.
Well, 20 years of doing something and keeping a routine of it.
I like it. Like, the mornings to me are very sacred. The city's beautiful. It's quiet. I walk the dog. I have my meditation time. I can pray. I can be on my own, before the house wakes up. So, but then I can come home and I can get the kids out the door and I can sit down again and have a coffee and read a book.
It's a blessing.
So the amount of no's I'm able to give up out without feeling guilt is success. The amount of time I get to connect with my husband throughout the day, who also works from home, is success. The amount of times I can drive up and see my parents in a week is success.
Of course.
So success looks very different for me right now. And what I found is the more I focus on the now, the more the opportunities are coming. They're slapping me across the face. And I'm not grasping for them. They are showing up in my inbox.
I love that.
So more of the now. It's not about what's next. It's about what's now.
I love that you embrace that concept. Did you embrace that very fast, or did you give yourself, how much time did it take for you to kind of grieve? Because you had to. That was probably a shock, maybe, or a little bit not what you planned, but how long did it take you? Because I love that mindset. I love that what you're sharing about you're in the now and the moments you're getting, especially with your parents. Like, what a gift.
What a gift.
That you never maybe thought you needed, but here you are.
It took a long time.
Okay.
It took a long time.
Okay.
And there are even moments now where I have to be like, why are you sad? Like, you've got everything you could possibly want. And then I have to say, stop judging yourself.
Okay, yeah.
Be kind.
It's okay. Sometimes you're just going to be sad. That is life. Move through the emotions of it. Sometimes you'll be frustrated. Just don't hang on to it and make it your story.
Yeah. Or be bitter.
Or be bitter.
Yes.
Like, let it move through you. It's not going to be
It's a
happiness all the
chapter.
time.
It's
There's
not
no
the
lightness
entire
without
book.
dark. So it's okay. But yes, the grieving process was like the whole thing. Denial, bargaining, like negotiating, anger, and then all of a sudden radical acceptance. But it took time to get there.
Yeah.
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 You talked about rest and defining the success, but especially you, Tracy, because you have been this powerhouse for so long and you have been at the forefront and you have been go, go, go. How important has it been for you to say, you know what? I am taking this time for me. I am letting my hair down. I am going to breathe. And yes, that does allude to the first quarter wrapping up ever so gently.
It is.
But I want to ask you that because how important was that for you after so long constantly going to say, I am doing this for me and I am going to rest. And guess what? That is okay.
It's maybe the most crucial thing I've ever done is rest. And sometimes rest looks like me laying out on the sofa, staring at the wall. Sometimes it's me with a book. Sometimes it's me walking the dog.
Yeah.
But just going a little bit slower has been, it is a part of productivity. And I think that's what we're not taught. It's not go,
Yes,
go, go.
preach,
It's go, go, go.
Tracy.
Stop, stop, stop,
Yeah,
stop, stop.
yeah,
Go,
yeah,
go,
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Stop, 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 stop. Like they feed into each other. We can't go all the time.
Yeah.
So the
Unless you want to burn out.
unless you want to burn
And you're
out.
forced to stop. Sometimes
and you're
we're
forced to stop because the universe will find a way and let you know, right? But the beautiful and most kindest words I can get from my husband are when I'm like, I am so, like, I'm napping too much, I'm resting too much. He's like, no, there's never too much.
I love that.
Rest.
Yes.
And I do the same for him because, like, life is busy. We all need to rest. Everybody, the world would be better if we all slept.
I know.
Well, guess what? We're about to rest real quick. And that's
Wrap it up.
we are going to segue into our second quarter. You are watching Mama and Her with the one and only Miss Tracy Moore with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the second quarter. Right now, I just want to dive in and talk about motherhood and career because honestly, it feels like a balancing act, but you had both of your kids on air. You know, not literally, but
Can you imagine?
imagine that would be a story to tell. Sydney at BT and Eva at Cityline.
Yes, yes. So 2 on-air pregnancies, I guess we could say.
Yeah.
It was weird. Kayla, I don't know how you found this, but I don't feel like the TV industry is that nice with pregnant women. And by nice, I just mean I had to deal with people, you know, like sexist men in the industry saying things like, well, you should just not come back after you have your baby. They're going to need you to be home with them. It's like, this is 1952. I'm coming back to my job, yo. And then a boss that was very much like put out by the fact that I got pregnant. Like, how dare I?
Yeah.
Like, don't you know you're hosting a big show? Like, why are you getting knocked up?
Right.
So that kind of thing was weird, but I also just sort of powered through because I sort of expected that kind of reaction. And then it's the whole, when you move from news to lifestyle, you realize that people want to know about your life. So people want to know what your husband does for a living and what kind of parent are you, and all of
Breastfeeding
these
or bottle.
things, breastfeeding or bottle, and
letting them cry it out. Or,
Yeah.
just the nitty gritty details.
the nitty gritty.
Because you're a part of their life. And I know that is absolutely something that you and I can relate on. This privilege that when you become this figure on TV and you become part of someone's daily routine, they feel like they know you, they build a connection. And so it shows up in real life when you run into the people at a gas station or at the grocery store or at the movie theater or whatever the case is, and they're just jumping right in. So how's Eva doing? What's she up to? So did she make her hockey team this year? You know? And there's a privilege in that, but there's also, of course, like being able to have to create a divide.
Yes.
For many reasons, but obviously create boundaries.
Boundaries, yes, absolutely. And I would say, you know, every time someone is like, well, how's Sydney? And I'm like, what's happening? And then I'm also like, what did I expect?
Yeah.
I put it on my Instagram page. Like, it's all there. Of course they're going to ask about it. I would say, though, the challenge for me, and something that I'm actually regretful about, is being a Black family on TV. I felt that there was a standard that I had to maintain. And, you know, being raised by very, you know, hardworking Jamaican immigrants, definitely there's that specter of respectability politics, and feeling like, okay, I'm a Black person on TV. These kids cannot be acting up.
Come on.
Right.
You will not be acting up in the
better not.
Toys R Us. You will not be acting up at the grocery store. You will not, like the lectures that we had with these babies before bringing them into the studio.
I get that.
And then even my husband, like, you can't steal someone's parking spot anymore, honey. I'm on TV.
Or
Right.
lower your window and tell them how he really feels.
You can't flip people the bird. Like, you're married. And I feel like I put a lot of stress on my family, because it was not only a Black family, it's like a Black television family.
Yes.
So if I had to go back, I wish I could chill out a little bit about that.
Give them a little more grace.
Give them a little bit more grace, because my kids were like little robots in public, which was fantastic for me.
Right.
Also, that's not what kids are.
No.
You know?
Right.
So, yeah.
I want to talk or ask you more about how you dealt with over the years with the mom guilt, because I know that actually you mentioned you were with City when you were pregnant with Sid.
Yes.
And then Cityline became an opportunity. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah,
right?
you're
While
right.
you were pregnant.
Yes.
And so you I would imagine were like, I gotta get my ducks in a row. Like this is a lot of things happening at once. I'm becoming a mom, but also I have the opportunity of a lifetime, and I cannot mess this up.
Yes. The one thing about me is that I actually wanted to work. And that's not everyone. You know, I think that there are people like my sister, she would rather be home with her kids. But my husband and I both tried it, because my husband was like, didn't really want to go the nanny route, and understood that I needed to get back to work earlier than maybe some other people. And so he left his job when we had the second one.
Okay.
But with Sydney, we had decided, okay, we're going to get a year parental leave. I'm going to take 6 months, and he's going to take 6 months. So we split it up. And then my parents, like, God bless them, they filled in that gap between
such a blessing.
so the baby can be of age to get into daycare, like 18 months.
Yeah.
And then with Eva, I had the boss that was like, well, how long are you going to be gone for? She wanted to be gone for a month.
Come on.
My mom was like, you will still be dripping. Like, you can't go back in a month. And I ended up negotiating that I would go back in 6 weeks. And I didn't know if I was going to have postpartum depression. Like,
Oh my God.
so I was nervous.
Like, obviously you felt some pressure, but this is such a big opportunity. But to be put in that position is awful.
Yes.
To have to choose, because this is a dream of yours, I'm assuming, to have this opportunity, and then you're a mom and you're postpartum, and like, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot when I think back to it. At the time, I was just like, okay, another problem. Let's figure out a solution.
Exactly.
Another problem. Let's figure out a solution.
Oh, 6 weeks.
So my husband's like, okay, I'm going to leave. He was at Reuters at the time. I'm going to leave. I will be home with the baby. And I negotiated that I just come in, get hair and makeup, do the show, go home. So I'm basically gone for 2 hours.
Okay.
So when I came home, she was waking up and ready to feed. And I pumped like crazy. So my husband had a freezer full of breast milk. And thank God she was the sleepy baby. So it worked out. So it was almost felt self-indulgent. 'Cause
Okay.
she had 2 parents at home, because I was only gone for 2 hours every day. And so it all worked out. But I didn't know if it was going to work out or not.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to go back to work, because they were only willing to do 6 weeks of replacement for me.
Okay.
And that's how it turned out. So in terms of balance, like, I would say definitely the partner, like Leo's been a very big part of that whole equation. And then having the village, which is my mom and dad, that has helped make it work. The mom guilt, it's been a very long time of dealing with that. And I would say even down to this morning with my 14-year-old who just wanted me to be around. I have to basically go from feeling really sad and like a failure to no, this is okay. And actually, she's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because she also needs to figure out how to amuse herself.
Yes.
And she also needs to be a bit resourceful. And I need to come and do things like this.
Were you ever the mom, though, that was like, I need to be attentive 24/7. They need me. I need to give my all to them. And then at one point, you probably had a breakdown moment or a moment where you were like, this is not sustainable. And in order to pour into them, I have to pour into me.
I had a moment, and I wrote about this for today's Parent Magazine, where I was trying to do too much. I had a clothing line, I had the show, I had several side hustles, and then the kids. And my daughter just wanted me to do her homework with her. She's doing French work. And I remember I locked myself in the closet on the second floor because my kids kept trying to find me. And I just needed to get through like one meeting, which turned into 2 meetings, which turned into 3 meetings. And I came downstairs, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it. She was like fast asleep in her homework.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I felt so bad. And I was like, great. Like, I got all those meetings done and I failed her. So I wrote about it because I had to talk myself out of feeling that level of guilt. But it's so sad when you see like they're so little.
Yeah.
She just wanted mommy.
She just wanted me.
Yeah.
At the same time, she also is seeing me thrive. You know, like they are seeing me thrive. They are understanding that as a grown-up, as a 50-year-old, they can actually have a very full life. And they are figuring out some of the problems that they need to figure out by themselves. And they're also like saying, like, call your dad. He's
He is in the building.
He's right over there.
that guy? I think he's upstairs.
Listen, it is a universal thing.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Like,
I'm
he's
like,
here too.
he's right there. He's not invisible.
Right, and he actually speaks French, and you're doing French homework. Like, you could actually get, anyways. So yeah, it's been hard learning how to get rid of the guilt, but I feel like I can talk myself out of it now easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because does mom guilt ever go away, or do we just again learn to?
I think we learn to talk ourselves out of it.
Better coping mechanisms, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were talking before we started rolling as far as the age gaps, right? So we are. You have a 5-year-old,
Yeah. 5 and 3.
5 and 3, and 3.
Oh, wow.
There we
Yeah.
go. They're right.
Yeah.
And now here you are in the thick of raising teenagers.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, who are very different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're pretty different. So I have my 16-year-old son, super low maintenance. I worry more about him not expressing when his needs are not being met. The loveliest child. Like, he got a lot of Amazon gift cards for Christmas. He bought the family an air fryer. He's like, I heard you guys talking about wanting an air fryer, and it was too much money to spend on myself, so I ordered it from Amazon.
His
Who
heart.
are you?
Right.
Thank you.
Is
So
you guys
lovely
raised
child.
him though? Just remember that.
Every day I'm like, thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
Wow, what a beautiful
no one's on
gesture.
heroin. No one is like,
Listen.
and then Eva is conquering the world one day at a time.
Listen, she's a powerhouse.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Like you.
I guess, but it's like I wasn't even like that at that age.
I mean,
like she's like speeding through. So she's doing everything. He's doing a couple of things, and they're both, one decision that my husband and I made, I would say maybe like around last year, is to kind of step back a little bit and let them make a few mistakes and be like not as on top of them. And I feel
And
like
just see
it's
what they do with
better.
that?
Let's see what they do with that.
I love these parenting tips because
mental notes.
Listen,
Yeah.
I want all the notes, but
At 5
I love
and 3,
that.
you're on top of them. Like
Yeah.
you're responsible for so much of their, getting their shoes on and their socks on and their underwear and the baths. And a lot of parents that are older than me have said when they get to be teens, say less.
Yeah.
They're not loving lectures.
Yeah.
If we want to tell them stories about mistakes we've made, they're all in.
Okay.
But they're not loving the lectures. They're not loving the do this, do that. It's like they're leaving the house with the coat wide open. I'm letting it go.
Right.
The bed's not made. I'm letting it go.
Okay.
That stuff is just not as important.
How are you finding parenting them now as teenagers? And you mentioned your parents, who are just the cutest people. I want to squeeze them every time you post about them. And you mentioned that they're aging.
Yeah.
Right? So you're balancing this act of my babies are growing and they're changing by the day into these two amazing, unique human beings. And then on the other front, I remember just watching recently a post where your bedroom feels like you go back into like a time capsule.
Totally.
And I love that. And you know, when you go back, but it reminds you too that your parents, they are aging and that you have this precious time with them now. So how do you juggle that? You're Tracy the mom to growing teens, and you're Tracy the daughter.
Yeah, I had to let go of like daughter guilt too. So I have decided that I'm letting my parents live their lives as the grown-ups they are, and my time spent with them will be joyful.
I love that.
That means I am not telling them, why didn't you go to the doctor?
Okay.
I'm not mad because you didn't get this thing done. I'm not mad that you're not seeing about a hearing aid. I'm not angry. We're going to spend this time and it's going to be joyful. And if that's eating something that's not on your kidney dialysis list, I'm not making a fuss about it. Like, I'm not here to police you. We are going to have a good time together, and these are going to be the memories we have.
How did you get there? Because I need to get there, and
I'm fighting. Like, they're not listening to me.
No, they're not.
So it's like, are we going to spend these years fighting each other? And like, maybe we you know what I mean? So no, we're not fighting each other. We're gonna have some jokes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some jokes, and we're gonna catch up about the kids, and we're gonna gossip about the family. What's happening with Auntie so and so. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
I love that.
And also, as long as I keep my commitment of seeing them like once a week or checking in, then I'm not gonna feel guilty about anything else. And I know that they love me, and they know that I love them. Like, they know. So it's okay.
I love that. I just want to talk a little bit about self-care. And I think anyone who follows you know you're in the gym
every morning.
Right. That is part of your lifestyle. And just like self-care, how did you, as a young mom working and also to now, what does the gym mean to you? How do you provide self-care? What does that look like for you?
For me, it's like front stacked. My mornings, I feel, are very much about me. So getting up early, getting out the door, meditating, walking the dog, reading some verses or some of my book. I feel like all of that puts me in a place where I can pour into other people for the rest of the day.
So much better.
Yeah.
So I've done it. Like, I did my thing, and now I'm good. You need this? I can do it without having like a temper tantrum, without snapping. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that.
And then probably like around 3 p.m. I'm a zombie, so I'm not a great night parent.
Right.
But it is my mental health like resource toolkit, the gym. It's sometimes the happiest part of my day.
I know.
I was once that mom where when the baby gets up, that's when I get up. Like, I'm not waking up earlier. I was like, that's overrated. I just want sleep right now.
I
I'm
get
so
it.
sleep deprived. But I've now entered the season right now at year 3 where I'm like, no, I do have energy and the capacity to set my alarm earlier and earlier. And so just this year have I been incorporating, I range anywhere from 6 a.m. or maybe even 5:45 to 6:30. And even if it's an hour, if it's 60 minutes to myself, it's already, I feel the difference. I see the difference. And to your point, you're ready to pour in so much better as opposed to then feeling like rushed and, like I felt frazzled.
Yeah.
So I 100%.
I love that for you too. I don't have that yet.
She's in the trenches.
My
but
kids
it's okay.
wake up at the butt crack of dawn. I don't.
Yes, I had early morning kids too.
Yeah, when I get there, I'm excited because I love that.
You'll have your me time
The
again.
me time. I will.
Yeah,
I
you
will.
will.
Yeah,
You will.
You will.
But
And
to
you're going to really love it.
I'm going to. Yeah, she's like, because when she talks about waking up and she's like, Kennedy's still sleeping, I'm like, pardon,
I know
what?
sometimes I don't even like to tell her.
Right?
I'm like, I'm sorry.
Well, I've already gone through like 5 snacks, entertainment, like unlimited,
She's lived 2 lives by the time I text her back in the morning.
Kennedy, man, talk to my kids.
Talk to Neil and Naya. But to your point about the gym, You know,
Yeah.
you mentioned that, yes, it's part of your morning routine. And it's also part of the way you show up because you are a strong woman. You are someone who's like, I don't just do 40 minutes of cardio. No, ma'am. You are lifting those 20s, those 30s, those 40s. You are pushing the limit. And I love that, especially because, and obviously I'd say we love that because as athletes, and you have that athletic mindset, and you just celebrated the big 50.
Yes.
How?
Matter of fact, we were honored. We were there and we were cutting up.
Yes, you were.
Okay. What a time. What a party. What a celebration. But it got me thinking at like, wow, you know, the way you are romanticizing and girl, you make 50 look good and strong and bold. And that photo shoot, that leg.
Girl, the way you were down on one, I was like, my knee hurt just looking at you. But you know what? I love the way you celebrate your birthday. Like, I am the same, but you're even more so. So now I'm even more inspired. Like, I thought I was next level. You are. And so I just love that you celebrate aging and you celebrate life and with friends and family. Your birthday party was, I was like, wow, I needed this.
But this is what it's about. But it's about celebrating.
Yeah, it was just immaculate. And it was just so beautiful to see your photo shoot. And
Thank you.
girl, you ate.
I'll tell you what I loved about that whole situation. First of all, like I stage managed the crap out of my birthday. And I think I've probably been doing it since like I was 20 years old.
Right.
I know what I want for my birthday and I'm always in charge because I'm always going to get what I want. Like I will always make it happen. This year's going to be a little dinner. This year's going to be a brunch. This year's going to be like a bashment. This year's going to be, we're going to Vegas. Like there's always something. But what I loved about that party is that the energy was top tier. Everyone
Facts.
came in that place ready to chill and dance and get on bad. And I so appreciate that mentality in the grown-ups around me. You know, there are people.
And by the way, the
older,
time of
younger.
day. Can we talk about that?
Time of day.
Day
Listen.
parties, day parties, day parties. Please,
and
more
thank you.
for the win.
Let's not pretend.
Let's not pretend. This is perfect.
No.
It was a reflection of you.
It really
It was a
was.
reflection of who you are, your joy, your boldness, your happiness, what you exude, what you put out into this world. And it just came back full circle in who was there, the energy, the vibes, the music. Like it was just everything. And it was everyone had a good time. You know, you just have a good time. I was remember because it was a cold winter day. I remember I was like, oh my gosh.
I know.
But I left there sweating and I was like, what a time.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. And my knees were hurting. I had to ice my knee. Whatever.
Yep.
Whatever.
All worth it.
Oh my gosh. All right. We're going to continue this cut up in our last and final wrap up with the one and only Tracy Moore with us here on Mama and Her. Stay with us. Welcome back to the final, I guess, quarter. Yeah, it's kind of a quarter of Mama and Her, our last segment of the day with the one and only Tracy Moore, who has been just so amazing. Thank you again for just being here and for talking things out. So many things that I think a lot of moms who are listening absolutely can relate to and chime in on. But as we start to wrap all of this up, because again, I was really thinking to myself when knowing you were joining us about redefining success, entering a new season in so many ways. Like you're in this new version of Tracy, and I love that for you. How do you summarize it when you I'm sure you have had to have done a lot of self-reflection over the last few weeks and months.
And it's continuous, like self-reflection. But I am on, I feel like I'm on a different journey right now. And I feel like it is going to be satisfying in a way that I could not imagine. So I don't know a lot of the how, but the knowing is real and it's deep. Whatever is happening next is very purposeful and it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's I would say is faith in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You don't know, okay, I don't know the next 7 steps. anymore. But I know that this is the path I'm on.
Yes.
And we're going to ease on into it. And like you
Yes.
said, you're not someone right now who is like clinging onto the last chapter, right? Like very similar to you. Like when I closed that chapter, I closed it with peace because I knew that it no longer served me
That's right.
in this season. And that's okay. And good things can come to an end, and that is okay.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, when you're just free and open heart, open hands, open mind, it's just going to flow.
And how lucky are we to be able to have different, like, enjoy so many different life experiences.
Yeah, it's a privilege.
Like to wrap one up and get to start another. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel very lucky.
And you should, because it's there. We shouldn't have one summit.
No.
Our life should not be like, for instance, like when people say like that high school was their greatest days.
Yeah.
No, I would hope my high school days are not my peak. I don't want to. God willing, if I am on this earth for 80 plus years, 90 plus years, I don't want 17 to be my peak. So the idea that we can grow and have multiple summits, multiple amazing chapters of life, and now you're on the verge of a new summit.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know what exactly the summit is
Yep.
so exciting.
It's exciting.
And I also think to hear coming from a woman is that as women, we're always told, like, once you become a mom or once you hit 30, like you're at your peak.
Or
and
once you hit 50.
you start to go downhill at 40 and then 50, but then you're hearing things 50 is the new 30. But I don't even like that. I just love that every decade there's something new and exciting. And as women, we discover more of ourselves, I feel like, especially when you become a mom. But just to see you thrive and just have this energy about you and peace and joy. Obviously, it's not always like that, but it's
but I will say two things. One, I feel these days like this must be what it's like to be a man. Is this what it's like? Have they had this their whole life?
Oh, gosh.
I have no imposter syndrome. I'm afraid of nothing. I'm like, there's no room. You can't put me in.
You might be right.
Are men like, no wonder they act like this. Because if I was like this at 27, I would have been dangerous.
Right.
I would have been dangerous. Like, I am so comfortable with who I am. I went to my physio the other day with no bra on. I was like, Tracy, I don't care.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
I'll say that. And the second thing I will say is, have you ever felt smarter than you do now? Have you, like, I am the smartest I've ever been. I know the most I've ever known. I'm the most comfortable I've ever been. Like, how dare they tell women that we're now going downhill?
Right.
I've never been so smart. I've never known so much. I've never had this level of comfort.
Or to say too that when a chapter ends, it's like you're starting over. It's like, well, no, I'm not starting from scratch. I'm starting from experience, honey.
Yes.
And now I have all of this accumulated a wealth of knowledge, of experience, good and
contacts, relationship, partnerships, like, I don't know. It's never been better. So that whole thing about aging being bad, it's all a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam.
It's a
scam.
Oh, I love that. As we wrap things up, every time we have a guest on the show, we always like to end it with this rapid fire of sorts, which talks and first things that come to mind, all things motherhood.
Okay.
So we are going to just throw things out. It doesn't have to be a one word. It could be a sentence or a phrase or whatever it is, but whatever comes to mind first. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Motherhood is
Fun.
I love that. Okay. What is the best advice about motherhood you have ever been given?
Gosh. I'd say this too shall pass. And I would say that as in the good things, notice them, acknowledge them, because they're going to become different good things.
Yeah.
And the bad things. The sleep deprivation for me in particular was like debilitating. That will go away.
Yeah.
So this too shall pass.
I love that.
what is the worst advice you've ever received on motherhood?
The worst thing I ever did as a mother was read parenting books.
Yeah, honestly.
They made me feel bad about every single turn, every single thing. They made me feel bad about sleep training. They made me feel bad about the way I was breastfeeding. The second child, I was like, I don't want a book. I'm just going to like use my intuition.
Yep.
I'm going to be fine.
Yep. I wish my mom told me.
I wish my mom told me about menopause.
Ooh, child.
I want wanted to know. I needed to know some
Wait,
stuff.
hold on.
about
Menno
that.
or peri?
Perimenopause.
All of-
I mean,
yeah.
most people didn't even know that was a word
yeah.
until like, I don't know, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to know. I knew she was hot. I knew my dad bought her a fan and a remote control, and that's all I knew.
Yeah.
I would have liked to know more about that.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you tell your younger self if you could?
I would go back and say, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about what people think. Just keep being you. Keep being you. It's going to be the thing that is going to get you to where you want to be.
Exactly. Yeah. The world needs you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the last one. And Shannon and I, our moms have passed. And so we haven't been able to ask them this question. But if you could ask your mom, you know, one question when you sit down and reflect on motherhood, mom to mom,
Yeah.
what would it be?
First of all, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I used to say to my mom when I was little, I would say, don't go to work today. And she would say, I have to go to work. And I didn't find out until I was in my 30s that I was giving her major mom guilt. And I said to her, the reason why I said don't go to work is not because I needed you to stay at home with me all day. It's because I wanted you to get some rest. Because I cared about her, right? So I think, you know, I would just want to know from my mom that my kids are going to know that I love them no matter what. You know, I think that kids are so connected to their parents, whether they are alive or they have passed. That connection is so strong and so deep, and it's automatic. You know, you have to do a lot to shake a kid. So I think, you know, I would have loved to just have that knowledge that your child will always know that you love them.
Girl, making me almost cry. It's okay. It's just so beautiful.
It is. And honestly, I'm so glad we just got to do this.
Me too.
And thank you. Thank you for being here, for saying yes. I still remember to this day, right before we end, but the way in which you show up for women, and especially like this episode means so much to me because I look up to you and I respect you. And I still remember when I was a young kid starting off in our industry and you took an hour out of your busy day and you met me for coffee at that coffee shop right next
Balzac's.
to the Balzac. Exactly.
Yes.
And we talked and I remember thinking like, wow, you did that. And that's been you. That is Tracy.
That's why I'm here.
That is why. And I know I'm not the only one. And you've done that for so many women. You hold the door open proudly so that others can follow through. And we thank you. And we acknowledge you. And today is not only like, I appreciate you peeling back layers of your story with us. And we want to give you your flowers, figuratively as well as literally. And so, Malika, please give Tracy it's a small token of our appreciation for being here, for being who you are, and for the light that you bring to our world.
You are a light.
I so appreciate you. And you know what? I know that I'm just like you two know you have a purpose. I know part of my purpose is keeping that door wide open. I didn't find it was wide open for me. So I'm going to make sure everybody can get in.
Yeah. And not everyone does that. So
Yeah.
So
Everyone
beautiful.
should though.
They
Wouldn't the world be
should.
better if we were all just
so much better.
This is beautiful. Thank you so much. I feel the love.
Tracy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Nice.
before we wrap up, where can people follow your journey and as you're entering this new one and just keep up with you?
I've been telling
we want to.
the viewers that are like, we're sad we don't see you on TV. I'm like, come see me on Instagram.
Yes.
Okay, come and see me on Instagram. And when I have when I land somewhere else, or if I develop something else, I will tell you about it on Instagram. So at the Tracy Moore, I will see you there, and I'll always inform people on what's going on. I love that you all are doing this for the moms. Thank you. That's really nice.
Yeah, we had to. That's the whole point of why we did this. So that about does it. Woo! Yeah. So on behalf of Tracy, Shannon, and myself, thank you so much for spending time with us. We love you. We appreciate you. And again, this is exactly where faith, motherhood, and community meet. So we will see you next time on the next episode of Mama and Her. Bye.